Greetings and salutations, Internet doesn't. It is I, Wolfphototech, and here we are going to go and talk about the newest book by Paizo Publishing. Please leave a comment in the comments, Paizo, if you happen to see this video. Alrighty. I'm going to do a quick over of this book. I'm not going to overly show a whole lot. However, I will show you some of the artwork and point out some key details in the book. This book is actually broken up into many sections. There's prayers for the living, hymns for the dead, the grim crypt, the lands of the dead, march of the dead, and the appendix. There is a special key section down here referencing the shorthand for all the books that I may reference in here. Like the APG is Advanced Player's Guide, the B1 is Bestiary 1, B2 is Bestiary 2, so forth. G and G is Guns and Gears. LOGM is Lost Omens, Gods and Magic. LOWG is Lost Omens World Guide. SOM is Secrets of Magic. Because this book is a part of the... There's actually multiple series that Paizo does in Pathfinder 2nd edition. And I think this is probably a part of the core book line. But anyways, in this book, there's this preface section here that just gets you into the world. It's actually written as if like it's in line with in-world writing of the... Imagine if a character was writing about the world around them and various creatures and denizens. That is how this book is generally written. So you have Chapter 1, Prayers for the Living. This is a chapter that's all dedicated around new undead options for still living characters. Like new feats, understanding the undead, and stuff like that. This is like a handy dandy section if you want to learn more about undead creatures and how to deal with them as a living player that is not undead. There is also various items in this book that are specifically oriented towards various deities tied to the undead, various symbols tied to the undead, weapons that can be used against the undead. There's new backgrounds for dealing with the undead, or people who are more likely to deal with the undead. Sorry if I do not look at the camera all the time, but I find it creepy and weird to look at the camera. But this book is loaded. It's much like the Guns and Gears book. As I said, it's as if it's multiple books tied together. And this is still the section on... These are all items destroying undead creatures and dealing with them. Peachwood weapons and peachwood itself. So you can make your own peachwood items. Peachwood is a more effective item against the undead. You got the Exorcist archetype. The Hallowed Necromancer, which is basically a necromancer that is focused more on dealing with the undead as opposed to controlling or directing them or creating them. So, there you go. The Soul Warden archetype, the Undead Slayer archetype, and then you get into the hymns for the undead, which is the player options to become undead or be undead, or items specifically used by undead, or feats to be used as a undead, or so forth. There's a little information section on... There's beautiful artwork of the witch, and the witch, the oracle, and our very favorite artificer, Sir Fumbus, if I remember correctly. I keep forgetting all their names, except for Lainey. Lainey's awesome. Of course, I've always liked druids and like gnomes. But anyways, you got a fun little section on class feats for necromancy. These feats are actually not tied to a singular class, but is tied to a group or family of classes. Kind of like how Strixhaven was original. Kind of how Strixhaven does is feats for multi-classing. You know, add a bit of your wizard to your fighter, your kind of thing. But in this case, these feats are like, you can put them on a cleric, you can put them on a wizard, you can put them on an oracle, any class as it has control, create, or manipulate undead. These feats tie into those classes. There's a handy dandy little reminder. It's a short little section on feats for necromancy, and then it jumps into the reanimator archetype, which has a nice little selection of feats. I'm not going to shoot over them. And then you got undead allies. Oh, and you said that was really short section for archetypes. Apes, by the way. Oh no, it's not that short. And then you have friendly undead. So if you want to have pets that are undead and feats to tie into that, you got that. The undead master archetype, which is like a beast master, but you specialize in undead. You got deities of the undead. You got playing undead section. You got a zombie punching out the top off their coffin. And you have a special healing feat, Stitch Flesh, is for healing your undead. Now, this is how you become undead in Pathfinder 2nd edition. They use the archetype mechanic to turn your character into an undead. So you could be a fighter undead, you could be a wizard undead, you could be a fighter ghost, you can be a wizard ghost, you can be a oracle that is ghost. You take an archetype just to morph into a ghost. Most of these are starting at level 2 or 2nd feat. However, they do note in the beginning when talking about it on this page, in that little section right there, about how to start at level 1. Talk with your game master about becoming undead and just taking the 2nd level feat at level 1. Or starting at level 2, so you have it right off the bat. But then you have Ghost, Ghoul. Oh, that's how ghoulish. Lich. Lich is actually a different one here because there's an important denotation that the Lich dedication actually starts at level 12. And it has a much shorter, quicker list. You only have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feats. Most of the feats are actually 6. You have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 feats. You actually have 1 feat at level 12, another 3 feats at 14, another 2 feats at 16, and a feat at 18. And then you had your soul cage, which you get at level 12. You got a mummy. This is actually the only actual ancestry that's in the book that is not an undead, that is not an archetype, is the skeleton. So you start with 6 HP. There's this various subtypes of skeletons or lineages, which then modifies how much HP. You got the full roster of level 1 to 20 feats. Well, actually, level 1 to 17 for skeletons. And then you have vampire. So, weirdly enough, yeah, you could be a elf, Dhampir, vampire. Or you could be a skeleton. That's something. You could be a skeleton Dhampir vampire. Because technically you got your ancestry, you got lineages or lineages/heritages, which would be like Dhampir, Tiefling, Azamar. I'm not going to be known at and forget Duskwalker. You can have a whole list. So you have your main type, your ancestry, and you can have a secondary sub ancestry, a modifying ancestry that changes your main ancestry to include other traits. And then, because this system uses the archetype mechanic to make yourself undead, you could actually be a skeleton dampier vampire. Okay. Or you can go up. Oh my goodness, a poppet vampire. That'd be cool. You got zombie. Brains. Brains. There should be another one in here. They should actually like do a Book of the Dead or Tome of the Unliving. And then do brains, and have it like the beginning of the feat. It'd basically be a song to homage towards Valerio Voltaire. You got ghost stories, how to tie things together. You got various hazards for your characters. You got some more fun stuff. The haunts section. The Grim Crypt, which is all new monsters or beasts. Mechanics for turning other beasts and monsters into undead. So if you don't have an undead, you can make your own undead with this book now. You got various undead with various different... That's... Child of Ugatha. Combusted, which is basically a skeleton or a zombie that's on fire. Corpse wood. And you have a really nice selection of undead creatures. Death Coach. Deathless Acolyte. Fiddlebones. I guess we have to get a little one piece in here. Oh ho ho. Geist. Gulagodu. And then you have more in-world quality depth. Sorry if the video is not... You got various types of ghosts. You got the standard ghost. And then you got a pirate ghost. Arr! And then you get a ghost pirate. I'm just joking. There's just ghost pirate, not pirate ghost. Which would be kind of really funny if they actually did include a pirate ghost and a ghost. Both a pirate ghost and a ghost pirate. A grapple spirit. As I said, I'm not showing you everything. I'm just telling you what's in here. There's actually a really nice range of levels for your monsters. So you got everything from level 1 to level 20. A lot of stuff in the middle. Hollowed Serpent, Ichor Slinger, Ghost Guard, which is a level 20. Erux Ostschurner, which is a 5. They, as I said, they intersect sections in there. Another lich. More types of liches. You got a horde lich. You got a rune carved lich. A little guide on how to create them. Little Man in the Woods. Elilia. Some various items on or descriptions of the process of undead, particularly with mummies creation. Then you get some mummies. This mummy is a level 0 on that screen, and then the other one is a level 8. So you got a mummified cat, which is level 0, decrepit mummy, which is level 2. Actually, it's mummified cat is up here. There's no photo of a mummified cat. We need a photo of mummified cat. Decrepit mummy, which is this one right here, which is a 2. Ice Mummy. Then you have an Iron Mummy, which is a 10. A Mummy Prophet of Set, which is a 13. Set, which is a god in information in here as well. A little section on sand mummification, some aquatic undead, some Eastern Pale Sovereign. So you have some Eastern mythology undead, a Polong Raw Nerve, a Revenant, which is a 10. I would think they'd be higher. Risen Pet, which they used a rabbit for. Didn't go with the cat for the full-on homage to Stephen King's book, but they did go with a rabbit, a white rabbit. Various skeletons, undead, a skeleton wolf, a skeleton soldier, skeletal mage, beetle carapace, drake skeleton, skeletal titan. Then you got some avian or flying undead, tormented, unrisen, huh? Gotta read that. Little section on vampires. So this book is just literally loaded. Eastern vampire, a Jingshi, a little section on creating them and how they are created. You get a little variety. As I said, I was not going to show you everything in the book, but there is a lot of stuff in here. Paizo is really good with cramming a lot of lore, a lot of monsters, a lot of items and feats and mechanics. Ooh, zombie owlbear. That's a nice toss. The owlbear is vastly superior in Pathfinder 2nd edition than it is in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The mechanics are so much more flavorful when it comes to the Pathfinder monsters. You got a section on, I just got past a zombie mammoth. And then there's chapter 4, which is Lands of the Dead, which is all about a region of the world, like Gib, various places where undead exist. Let's just say that. The Gravelands, Mizali, Nimeret Nikotoria, Oration, Ordelia, Path to Valhalla, Shaman, Used to Love. Then there's a section called March of the Dead, which is actually an adventure, which I am literally not going to show. My official policy when it comes to adventures is I'm literally not going to show them at all, but it actually looks really cool. There's a handy dandy little section in the back on a little glossary section on abilities. Ability glossary, creatures by level. So you have a handy dandy little section on creatures by level. So if you ever really needed to, I need an undead that's a 2. I got decrepit mummy, a husk zombie, a lacedon, a shed skin. Yeah, I got those. So that matches my level. And then if I wanted to have a more complex and more difficult combat, I'll go with a combusted, a deathless acolyte of Ugatha, Fiddlebones, and zombie owlbear, which is all level 3s. Maybe one of those to rush up and add a little more or complications if the players are doing really well, or just toss in a zombie, a wolf skeleton or a zombie snake, a bunch of zombie snakes or a pack of zombie skeleton wolves. There should be, honestly, there's a little section in this book on how to make zombies and skeletal creatures. You could literally turn basically anything from the other players' other bestiaries into your skeletons and your wolves. You could have skeleton wolves hanging out with zombie wolves, and you could have a vampire wolf in a pack. Because this book gives you all the little tools you need to cross-section all kinds of monsters from the previous Pathfinder bestiaries and other books, and turn them into your skeletons, your zombies, your vampires, your mummies, whatever you want. It gives you the tools to do that. And you don't have to just throw something together and hope it works. And and the tools in here look actually really good overall. Have to actually run a game and actually use them in combat to actually know 100% sure. But that will be really interesting, to say the least. So I say, if you have Pathfinder 2nd Edition, this book just doesn't give you players new characters options. It also gives the GM 1,000 new monsters, because it gives you the instructions to make skeleton of this, zombie of that, ghoul of this, vampire of that. So whatever you want, whatever you need, you can just blow up the range of your monster options, because it gives you the tools to do what you want to do in the most dramatic and terrifying fashion. Actually, to be specific, there are basic undead adjustments, ghost adjustments, ghoul adjustments, mummy adjustments, shadow adjustments. You can shadow creatures. You can make a shadow cat. You can make a shadow bird. You can make a shadow pig. You can make a shadow bull. You can make a shadow skeleton. You can make a shadow hunter. You can make a shadow peasant. You can make a shadow this. You can make a shadow that. We've got skeleton adjustments, vampire adjustments, white adjustments, zombie adjustments. So you could really play around with some fun options there. There's just there's that. A level adjustment table, weaknesses, what you add, what you remove, extra abilities, negative healing instructions, lesser to spare, are tied to your mummies. So you can make a mummy wolf, a mummy crocodile. You can make a mummy bird. You can make a mummy mom, a mummy dad, a mummy baby, a mummy owlbear. So I say that is just a whole ton of fun. This book is $49.99. If you can order it on Amazon, or go directly to your nearby gaming store, or buy this directly from Paizo. But $49.99, this is like a solid value for your TTRPG needs. And with a little working, you can convert a lot of stuff to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, back convert it to Pathfinder 1st edition if you don't have the equivalent book of the Undead and for Pathfinder 1st edition. You can take the stuff from Pathfinder 1st edition and upconvert it to Pathfinder 2nd edition if you need be. This is just an awesome book overall. The code on the spine is PZ02110 for your collecting and documentation needs. Also, if you ever need to, you can usually type that in and you can usually find it, or you can go and use the ISB key on the back side. It's a good way to find in stuff when you are having a hard time finding a thing. And like someone like on eBay or something screwed up the spelling of the book or how it's spelled. The ISB numbers are usually a really good option to find what you need. That is an awesome book. This is an overview. The preliminary score of this book is like a 5. It's not a review. This is a score of 5 for this book for an overview. that may potentially be adjusted up or down. You cannot be adjusted higher than 5. That's the max. But it could be adjusted lower once I read through this a bit and run some campaigns with these options and find if there is any errors or issues with the book or with the options. Then in an official review in the future, it might be adjusted down. But this is a darn awesome book. I say definitely buy it if you're running Pathfinder 2nd edition. If you even have like Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, this might actually be a good brain food for how to homebrew and design undead for your Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition adventure as well. So, or if you want to like convert or some of the stuff to the older editions of D&D or, as I said, other things. Pathfinder is close enough to Dungeons and Dragons that the conversion is not incredibly difficult, but you still have to do some fiddling to get things to match up. But this is a good starting point for your conversion needs. And it's awesome, some stuff for your Pathfinder 2nd edition gaming needs. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and consider subscribing on this channel. I will cover more Pathfinder 2nd edition videos in the future. However, I'm just trying to get through my Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition stuff. And once I get through my huge pile of Dungeons & Dragons first party stuff, and I can get into my Pathfinder 2nd edition stuff, I will rotate through all the stuff I already have for Pathfinder 2nd edition. And get into my Dungeons and Dragons, get into my Call of Cthulhu stuff and other gaming system stuff, and make a point of more regularly posting stuff for Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, and Call of Cthulhu all mixed together. And this is kind of like a preliminary, oh, this just came out, I might as well just do it now, as opposed to waiting until I get to my Pathfinder 2nd edition section. Thank you very much for watching. Have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful week, and a magnificent month, and see you next time.